better than ever. And I know right now that I'm going somewhere and I need some cheddar. Oh, baby,
You can now have
not go.
agents that are programmed and doing automation. So I've talked about this before. This is something I see a huge opportunity for teams that they're starting to do some proof of concepts around. You connect your ticketing data, your calls, your emails, your calendar, your call transcripts, and that automatically reads, the agents read it. And like all this data is now pushing automatically into CRM, where before, like those didn't talk. So a rep would be on a call like this, they have their meeting, they go back to CRM, they got to type out all their notes. So now they don't have to do any of that. Like all that's getting transcribed. The agent is reading it. It's like, right, here's a 3 sentence or paragraph summary, pushes that into CRM, and it's already there. So now the rep can just have a call, have their meeting, they know the information's in there, and they can move on to the next thing. So less admin work. So, those are some of the things that, when you're in this kind of blend model, it allows you to interact with it the way you need to, enhance the user interface. You're not starting from scratch, but you can plug in some customizations, and it gives you some flexibility. The cons is, so you're still using the back end, but you got to now integrate all these systems into it. So that could get costly. If you don't have good people that know how to integrate those systems, you got to make sure that you do it right. Where, Salesforce, HubSpot, they already built all the integrations that it needs to be to run. So like they spend a ton of time and money on that. So there's some investment you need to make it customized, but you can run lean. Like you only add the features you need and you plug in the things you need to versus having to take everything out of the box. Maintenance and like who's doing what, you got to be very clear on, is the vendor still doing it? Are we still doing it? Like who's handling that? So, if it were me, I would really consider that blend model. If I didn't have to handle or worry about all the, you know, unbundling our current CRM and the change management, if it was like starting from scratch or there's flexibility there, like I'd really look at like a bespoke type vendor or tech company or engineer that could take some of these agents, assistants, things like that, and plug into a system of record, or maybe even create our own system of record that you're working with, and maybe you don't need the CRM. But I think that blend model is where a lot of people are starting to go, just because there's limitations on like out of the box systems, and people want more customization. And Claude and ChatGPT and all these others and Perplexity, you name it, they've made it so much easier to interact and do some of these things that give you what you really need. We're talking a lot about how, instead of reps manually using ChatGPT or Claude to interact with and message and help in the sales process, this CRM now, or this platform that you build or blend, whatever you want to call it, now proactively serves you insights. So that's where I see it going, where the agents are going to be doing a lot more. The automations are going to be pushing through. It frees reps times up, give them more selling time, help them close more deals, give them more customized quality insights, everything like that. But it's going to be, like I said, it's going to be change management. Most people, like I was so set on like, you have to have a CRM and it has to be this way. And so when I heard someone say that, people are going to build their own CRMs, you're not going to really need a CRM, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't wrap my head around it. But the more I see examples, the more I see people already starting to do this, I think that's where we're headed. So a couple of teams we're talking to, one specifically, a real example of what they're doing in like kind of that crawl, walk, run stage. They see the opportunity here. So they're a Salesforce team. They're going to keep their Salesforce, but they're going to plug in some of these integrations that Salesforce can't do for them, and not build it themselves, but work with us to help really customize it the way that they need to, because they're potentially going to go down on headcount. They need to run a little more lean, a little more efficiently. So they need to make sure that the reps they have, they're maximizing their effort, they're maximizing their selling time, they're getting quality leads, quality insights that allow them to close more deals. So they see the value of building some agents, some assistants, some customizations that give them the real data that's going to help them versus just having to work around whatever Salesforce has and build all these customizations and things like that. So they're going to find ways that the actions that reps take automatically update fields in CRM. So that saves them time. They're going to connect some of their sales tools, their ticketing data, their call recordings, so that that automatically pushes through and like, you don't have to manually update those things. And so they'll start with a small pilot with one team, prove that ROI, and then slowly start to build that out, plug in other systems, things like that, and build towards a fully connected system down the road as a long-term goal. But I think this year into 26, going into 2027, is going to be kind of that year of testing, proving things out. Some people are going to say, hey, we're going to build internally. But then they realize like the work that goes into it. And the thing I've heard too, as I talk to like SVPs of sales, VPs of sales, like, oh yeah, our AI team, our tech team said they could build it out. Like, oh, cool. What does that look like? Well, right now that looks like a 2027, 2028 project. If there's value that you see, you can't wait till 2027, 2028. Being a VP of ticket sales or just talking to them, just knowing sales in general, if there are expectations to drive revenue, drive sales, and this can help, you can't wait 18 months. You don't have that long of a leash. That's just the reality of it. So really pushing back on them to think through how can you start something smaller, or at least make a case to have that conversation. So starting to talk to, and this is, I'm going to transition now to what stood out, in some of these conversations recently that I do every episode. What stood out is NBA specifically, but other teams, they're hiring AI specialists, people that have come from out of sports, people that kind of run their own agency, like, and not just, all right, let's get everyone chat GPT licenses, but like doing these things we're talking about, building out these customizations, what are workflows and use cases and automations that could really help the sales team be more efficiently, so it doesn't come down to, well, sales are low, so let's tell our reps to make more calls, or let's put 5,000 leads through Wolf Cycle or Conversica and just see who raises their hand. Those are all great additions and things we should be doing, but how do you make people work more effectively, more efficiently? So there's a couple that are like really early movers. There's other teams I talk to like, hey, we're going to kind of take a wait and see approach. We got other priorities. So it's going to be a really fun year of just seeing how this evolves. And I felt, as we were starting to have some of these conversations last year and maybe even like early in 2024 or late 2024, we were early on the AI conversation. Like people knew about Chat GPT, they use it for personal life, like help me make this recipe, or ask just kind of personal type questions. There's a different level of education, and not even just like using, like everyone has AI, everyone uses Chat GPT, Gemini, whatever now. Like that's not the advantage, the capabilities of it. And I mean, even this week, like there's new capabilities added. So you got to continue to learn and stay up to date. But it's going to be fun now that sports is in that conversation, because we're typically 3 to 5 years behind, the tech world and like other B2B companies. And I see, in the go-to-market side, sales, marketing, driving revenue, like people seeing the opportunity there. So that's one thing that stood out. A second thing that stood out, I had a conversation with one of my old reps today. I was talking about, he's in a manager role now, and some of the excitements and challenges he has as manager. He's like, hey, and I already knew where he was going as soon as he kind of paused. Like, I look back on our time, and there were some conversations you and I had, and I didn't always love the message that you gave me, and I get it now. And I cut him off. I said, yeah, I had a great director, manager, Jason Howard. He's over at the Bulls now. And I said I was fortunate when I became a director. My office was right next door to his, because he was a VP at the Astros. I was with the Astros. So I didn't have to wait till we had these interactions. I could have a conversation where I could tell a rep was really upset, really frustrated, but because I cared about them, I told them what I felt like they needed to hear, not what they wanted to hear. And I just remember so many conversations he had with me where I'd left his office mad, I didn't talk to him for like a week, and I had the luxury of being able to just like walk next door and be like, and kind of limp in. He's like, hey, what's up? Yeah, I remember that conversation we had like in 2010. I'm sorry. And he would just laugh because I get it now. And so It was cool to have that conversation, and I didn't need the validation. Like whether he liked it or not, I cared about him, loved him as a person. Like I was going to tell him what he needed to hear. Whether I knew he didn't like it, and I knew that made the relationship at times a little awkward. But as a leader, like that, you got to do what you got to do to help grow the person, and hope that on the back end they realize it's coming from a good place. So it was good to get that validation. I didn't need it, but it was interesting having that conversation. So that stood out. And then shout out. So I mentioned this. I'm recording these in advance, so I don't even know what date this is gonna actually go out. And some of these are getting split into multiple episodes. This one probably will too, like part twos. But the day I'm recording is the day after our 2 year anniversary of Four Leaf. And so obviously last couple episodes I talked about, giving us a shout out for making it to 2 years. Want to give a shout out to Brittany, the CEO, co-founder, CFO, everything. Like I've more recently started diving into some of like the business type stuff, and like numbers and revenues and things like that, just to see like how we're performing. For the longest time I was like, I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna try and get clients and get business, and like I didn't have to worry or stress about like the business side. And kind of irresponsible as a co-founder to just say, hey, you got this, you figure it out. And then also just your wife put that pressure on her. But no, she handled it well. And like there's lessons we've learned about running your own business, but there's a ton of stuff that she's done that's freed me and allowed me to just kind of do this. I can come in this room and like record a video for 30 minutes and not have to worry like, I got to dive into like, our taxes and finances and paying bills and everything like that. So huge shout out. I mean, obviously just from a personal standpoint of like, because that's the same role she plays in our personal life, but we've done a great job of working together and finding that blend and that mix between personal, professional, and like keeping that, separate, but then also realizing that's just like the lifestyle we've created now. So I want to give her a shout out. And also again, shout out for the Griffies. Like they've been a staple now the past couple episodes. So may put them on, but a lot of times they're going to be up here. So right, in closing, so I focus mostly on CRM systems. I think that's the one that most teams they're going to be using. But think any tool in your tech stack that you use, email automations, call recording softwares, like anything that's like enabling your sales team that you're purchasing. There's room for disruption. People could build their own now, even if it's not the same quality. Does it get by? Could you just build it through Claude Code or Codex on ChatGPT, like, and at least get you something going? Like, there's going to be a conversation around that for sure for all tech products. And then on the sports side, it's like, what do we really need? And what does that look like to connect these systems? And so you don't need to be locked into one type of product. I need a little bit of this. I need to pull that from that. I create my own kind of custom platform, and I get the data and insights that I need that are bespoke and customized to our team. So that's what's coming. And then there's a conversation internally with finance and tech and go-to-market leaders and executives on, do we buy it? Do we build it? Do we find like a blend, more customized type product? So that's the conversations I'm getting to have, which I'm excited about, to keep those going along with the workshops and the sales training and everything like that. So yeah, if you liked it, hit like, gets it out to more people. Starting to get a few more views on some of my videos, which is cool to see. Some more subscribers each one. Share this with people in your network. So a lot of the content I'm talking through is for reps and like tips when it comes to B2B sales and things like that. I think this one is a good one, especially if you're aspiring to get into leadership one day, or like you're just kind of operationally minded, but definitely hits more of that revenue operation, that director, VP, C level, and what the conversations that they're having, what they're thinking about from an efficiency, and just putting together systems and processes to work most effectively so that everyone could function. So share this with some of your network you think that this would be valuable for. And then again, subscribe. So every week I look to drop a new episode. Mostly been consistent on that for almost a year now, which is cool to see. But yeah, subscribe so you get updated when new videos come out. And then, like I tell my daughters every day when I drop them off for school, go be awesome today. And I'll be back next week with another episode. Thanks.
That's nothing, that's nothing. I'ma be doing this and I'm gonna be head hunting. Oh baby, don't know. Oh baby, don't go. Oh baby, don't know. Oh baby, don't go.